Hello again, my little mathematicians. Today, I'm going to help you get started on your homework, but this is actually one of the most crucial things that we can actually learn. Multiplying or dividing by a power of 10. If you can remember this one nifty trick, it'll help you quite a lot. Okay, so if you're multiplying by a power of 10, move the decimal to the right. If you're dividing by a power of 10, and that's like 10, 100, 1,000, move the decimal to the left. Now, how many times do you move the decimal? Move it according to however many zeros there are. So if it's 10 that you're dealing with, you'd move it one time. If it's 1,000 that you're dealing with, you'd move it 3 times. If it's 100 that you're dealing with, you'd move it twice. Now, the reason that I say this is so helpful is you don't have to do all the multiplication or division. All you have to do is just move the decimal according to how many zeros there are. And again, if you're multiplying, move it to the right. If you're dividing, move it to the left. And you're like, okay, but when do I really need this? Especially if you're talking about leaving a tip, right? Okay, leaving a tip is like 20%. If you can figure out what 10% is and then double that, that will tell you how much to leave for your tip. 10% is the same as if you were to divide by 10. So if you were to move the decimal one place to the left. Another time this might be helpful is, let's say you're figuring out a percent off of a sale. If it's 30% off, figure out what 10% is by moving the decimal one place to the left, because you're dividing by 10, right? And then do that 3 times. So once you figure out how much it is, move it however many times. If we're dealing with 10, right, you'd move it one place to the left. And then once you figure out that number, just multiply it by 3, and that tells you how much your item is on sale. This is amazing, right? I told you this was helpful. So let's go ahead and get some practice. Okay. If you were ever asked in a problem to multiply by 1,000, instead of doing that big long math, I know that multiplying means I'm going to move the decimal to the right. And I want to move it 3 times because there's 3 zeros right here. So here's my decimal right now. I'm going to move it 1, 2, 3 places to the right. So now it's 3141.59. So that's 3,141.59. Let's go ahead and find that right here. It's H. So for 13, I'm going to put an H. Okay, let's try 14. Again, I'm multiplying, so I'm going to move the decimal to the right. And I'm going to do it only once for this one, because this one only had 1 0. So now it's between the 1 and 4. So it's 31.4159. So this is 31 and 4,159 10,000ths. All right, let's go ahead and find that. That's right here with an O. So for 14, I'd put an O. For 15, this is actually saying divided. Okay, I know that sometimes you see the little division symbol, but a fraction is the same thing. This is saying 3.14159 divided by 100. So when we're dividing, we're going to move the decimal to the left, and I'm going to move it twice because there's 2 zeros here. So let's move it 1, 2 to the left. And notice that little bump here. I need a 0 placement holder because the decimal's right there. So now it's 0.031415.9. That's right here. And H, man, I guess when in doubt, guess H, right? Okay, 16. Again, if you think you've mastered this, go ahead and pause the video, try them on your own, and then unpause it and come back and check. Okay, if you unpaused it and you're back with us, a decimal is kind of like a fraction, right? So if we had said a fraction of a certain amount, that means that we're multiplying. So I'm going to multiply by 100, which means I'm going to move it to the right, and I'm going to move it twice because there's 2 zeros. So 1, 2 to the right puts it between the 2 and the 7. So this is 62.7. Right here, E for 16. Okay, let's try 17. I'm dividing, so I'm going to move it to the left, and I'm only going to move it once right here on the other side of that 0 because there was only one 0. 0.0627 is H. I told you, when in doubt, go with H. Now again, I'm dividing, because fraction means divided. It's the top divided by the bottom. So I'm going to move it to the left, and I'm going to move it 3 places because there's 3 zeros. So 1, 2, 3. And now that the decimal's here, I need 2 0 placement holders right there. So it's 0.000627. And really be careful, okay? There's 3 zeros here. So which one of these has 3 zeros? This one right here after the decimal. So 18 is A. And again, I can't emphasize strongly enough when you're writing your answers in the answer column, like really double check how many there are and make sure you copy down your answers correctly. Okay, I'm dealing with money and I'm going to multiply by 10. So move it to the right, only one place because there's 1 0. So now it's between the 5 and the 0. But since I was dealing with money, I want to make sure that I go out to the cents place, the hundredths. So 35 bucks right here, D for 19. 20, I'm multiplying again. So I'm going to move it to the right, but this time I'm going to move it 3 places because there's 3 zeros. So 1, 2, 3. Let's put a 0 placement holder there. 3, 5, 0, 0. And put a comma right there and a dollar sign because we're talking about money. And this is 3,500 right here, F. So 20 is F. And then finally, 3.50 or $3.50 divided by 10. So I'm dividing, I'm going to move the decimal to the left, and I'm only going to move it once because there's 1 0. So now it's 0.350, but since we're talking about money, and even if we weren't, I can drop that 0 at the end. So this is now 35 cents. So 21 is 0. And I want to point something out. I dropped that 0 at the end. That's not significant, right? Because it's still 35 hundredths, 35 hundredths. But if the 0 was here as a place value holder, then it's significant and you can't ignore it. You go ahead and try the rest. Pause the video, unpause it when you're done. Okay, and if you just unpaused it and you're back with us, here are the answers to those bottom ones. And congratulations, my little mathematicians. If you got those right, you're geniuses.